Hello, people. Today, let us talk about being able to help someone when they are in an emergency need. Okay, so what is it that makes us being able to help, and what is it that keeps us away from help? Now, before we go ahead with this video, I just want to make sure that this is about nothing sad or scary. It is just an experience and also a kind of a life lesson that I wanted to share with you. Okay. So while I was working at, Bangalore, uh, I had this friend of mine. I mean, back then she was not that a good friend. She was just a colleague that I had met for a few days in the training session. And I was new at the city and I was living in an accommodation that I had rented. And, you know, and I had a very tight schedule. Like I would wake up in the morning, I would just go to work, and I would just go ahead with the day's schedule and do my things and carry on with life as is. Okay. And I would be happy in my very peaceful, quiet, and usual zone in life. And then there was this friend of mine who had asked me to give her a very precious thing that I once owned. It was a bag, okay? And while she had asked me to give her this bag, I was at first very much eager to give her the bag, okay? But then I also had I had a very sad feeling that that bag was given to me by my mother, and with, of course, with her hard-earned money, and I did not want to share the bag. But I was sure that when she had asked for that bag, it was completely out of sheer necessity. And it is just not that particular incident. I had this colleague of mine at workplace who wanted to take my water bottle, that sipper that I would take to office. And like this person was going somewhere, and like they just wanted to take my water bottle and carry it along with them, and just like be like that. Like they mentioned that we will give it back to you, both in the case of the bottle and the bag, that we will give it back to you when we are back here, maybe after a few days or so. So initially I was very very happy, okay, despite all the reasons, despite all the feelings, that okay, this bag is very precious, this bottle is given to me by my mother. Initially I was extremely happy about all these things, that I'm getting to keep I'm getting to make friends by sharing what I own. I'm getting to make friends by being happy that I'm sharing. And I like like I would observe how people were just not okay with sharing their things, and whereas I wanted to make this a bit of a, like I wanted to stand out among them, okay, that I was able to share, that others are very um selfish, they exist in this circle, and here I am being able to share my things, do things for others. And like in both the cases, I mean, this is not just one instance, it has happened to me for a very long time. that these people, they took those things, they like they used both the things, like they had a necessity to use the bottle, they had a necessity to use the bag, and they used it. And then eventually what happened is that they forgot to even mention a word of thankfulness. They forgot to even mention a word of gratitude, and they even kept the bag for the next day. Like, and when I asked them, like, hey, where is my bag? They mentioned that, here is your bag, and if we keep it, we like the next day at work, I asked it to this person that where is my bag? The person said that, like the bag is still with me because, I have an event the next day and I will keep the bag with me. And I was a bit, like awe-stricken, I can say. I mean, like I was a bit taken by surprise, and I was also a bit inspired by the person, that how is it that we can be, like we can just use somebody else's things and we can still continue to be, that impolite. I mean, getting ahead with it without being thankful and carrying on with life and then making demands. So, this is my take on it, people. Please note that, see, you and I, like, I'm not just talking about you, I'm also talking about myself, that you and I, we might or we might not be okay with, the other person's expectations with being able to say sorry or thanks or anything. But what we are really okay about is that we carry on with our life irrespective of what is going on. Okay, just like those people who had taken our things, who had done something to us, and who did not care. Okay, and they were okay with it. Similarly, why can't we be okay with it? That, like, it's okay. There is something, and, like, this person that I am asking for such a help, like, in their space, this person probably was or was not aware that, probably, like, in their space, the person was or was not aware that, so these people who were so happy, you know, with, I mean, with taking help from us. Now, just ask this to yourself, that were these people really happy? Like, as much as it made me happy to be able to help them despite every reason, were they that happy to be able to help us? I don't think so. I mean, to be able to take that help from us, I think they were just carrying on with their lives, right? So, so the thing is that, like later on, and sometimes even now when I think about the incident, that how much that bag, I mean, irrespective of the cost that bag and the bottle had made to me, I got to just ask, like this person, that without even a thanks or sorry, like that, okay, thank you that the bag is with me, and that you made an effort to give me your things, or sorry, I'm so sorry, I wish I could have given it later to you, I mean earlier to you. But then what happened is that I got my things even a little later because the person had Yet another event, yet another thing. Now, just ask. Sometimes I do the effort to ask this to myself that, like this person, okay, they were probably not that excited about the event that they were going to. Had they been excited, they would have, you know, had a little bit of, they would have a little bit of preparation around it. They would have bought a bag for themselves. They would have bought a little bit of, like a simple bottle for themselves. But they didn't do that. Instead, what they did was that they just wanted to, like escape that opportunity, or escape that, like shopping is an opportunity, people, just like your job, just like your things, shopping is also an opportunity. So they escaped that opportunity of, like doing something for themselves, and they carried on using other people's things, and also got to be impolite and selfish and stuck in their own imaginary zone for as long as they want to be. Okay. Now, back then, I used to be very shy, and I used to be very much stubborn about not being able to be, that upfront, not being able to be blunt. Because in my head, the world was, you know, in my head, the world was dark, complex, sad, chaotic, disturbing. And if I am able to spread that light, spread that zone of positivity, that was everything to me. Okay. But now when I think about it, it is just that, like, I mean, it doesn't take money to say sorry or thanks, to be a little apologetic, right? But sometimes, you need to understand that these people who take advantage, who ask for help, like forget about taking advantage, even small bits of help, they don't realize that, even you have this circle, you have your zone where things do matter, and you can do whatever you can think about, but they will not come around to even have that spark of understanding in their eyes. So, what is it that you can do? First of all, please understand that the world doesn't quite turn out to be your thing all the time. Why? Because of this, probably. That you think that somebody else is happy to receive your things, to get your things, and like be energetic and like that uh, extraordinary, that today, like, and when they go out to the world they say that like this is Shohini's thing that I am using, this bag belongs to Shohini, and like it is as if they have this mouthpiece where they are like putting out your name everywhere, like Shohini, 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 like that. So, what is it exactly that can stop us, you and I, and the other people from being like this? Okay, first of all, this is my philosophy with life, that stopping something is just stopping. Like when you have to stop something, you just stop doing it, irrespective of how much you have been doing it lately or till now. I'll give you another incident. Back at school, I had this friend of mine. Okay, I mean she was not a friend, she was just a classmate. And she was just an acquaintance. And she had borrowed this cassette from me, like like there. Was it a cassette or was it a CD? I don't remember, but I think it was a cassette. Okay, back then we had these music cassettes. She had this cassette from me. She borrowed it from me because, she had to do a performance. We were having some annual day at school, etc., etc. She had this cassette and she had to borrow it because she had to make a performance. And then she went out there and she made the performance and she didn't give me the cassette back. She continued to, keep that cassette without my permission, and then she kept it for very long with herself. And she did that. I mean, she kept it till she had a cultural event at her home, then her area, then only she gave it back to me. Now, sometimes I also understand that despite having money, despite having, living near the most glorious shop out there, some people might or might not be capable of going out shopping. Why? Because of cultural restraints, because of, there is a bit of sadness associated even with shopping. Why? Because, like like first of all, please understand that just with anybody else out there, even we feel entitled, right? And also, like, how we feel entitled, everybody else out there feels a bit entitled, that like like this is a picture of feeling entitled, that people not only feel entitled to be a part of your world, but they feel entitled that you will make an effort to help them out of their things. Okay? So these people who get to just carry on with life and use your things, it is as if they were picking up something, picking up a simple uh, cap from the floor and putting it on their head without any notice. And you get to sit back and you get to just think that, okay, today the person will come back and help me out with this thing. They will give it back to me. But it doesn't turn out like you would rather want it to. Why? Because you have spent so much of effort into thinking how the world works. See, people, you fail at certain things not because of, I mean, sometimes, yes, we do fail because of some external actions out there, but also sometimes we fail because of our extremely prolonged idea of how life should be. Okay. So, like media, morality stories, learnings from our parents, they give us the idea that like our life should be a life of kindness, our life should be a life of happiness, our life should be a life of light and community and being able to help each other. But do they tell? And also, like, when something wrong happens, there is also a lot of narration around being forgiving, being tolerant, being honest, being clear. But what about, like, not being able to be that forgiving, not being able to be that honest, not being able to be that clear? How can we carry on with life when we don't even know the intention behind a person in taking our things? How can we carry on with life when we do not, like, first of all, the world is filled up as much as with strangers, and also at the same time with people that do strange things. For example, this classmate of mine who got to keep the cassette for months, you know, and also just do her thing, might not have the situation at home to go and buy a cassette. It might be a money thing, it might be something. But then I not get to think that, okay, how do I feel about it? Do I feel okay to be the person who is out there helping all the time? Isn't it isn't it very, see, it is as tricky as you can think about it. So what is it that we should be doing? See, being able to help lets us, like tick mark all those laws of life, those uh, teachings, those morality things that, if you are being helpful, you are, like glorifying the human existence, etc., etc. But what about being able to live a little uh, quietly, live a little distantly, and still be happy? That, I get to live a little distantly and I get to be happy. And when now there is something tricky about how people regard these people, because, like, okay, I get to be distant and I get to be happy. And when people look at me, they connect to me just through my work and nothing else. Now, what is this thing that like have you ever come across these distant people? I have come across many distant people in my life, and that is a very interesting topic, and I would like to talk about it very soon, probably in one of the next few videos. And I just wanted to mention that it is extremely amazing to be able to observe them, and there are so many things to be learned, you know. But then again, there are many disadvantages of this kind of life. See, if you are living a life that is extremely distant or extremely connected, you will for sure in the future become a very distant person, a very reclusive person, and then eventually you will go back to that imaginary island. So, how to keep a balance? First of all, please understand that if you are met with absurdity, cruelty, shamelessness, so that imaginary island that takes care of you no matter what becomes the only thing that you can live for. And trust me, all of us do have that thing in us. Okay. Now, what is it that we can do to stop this from happening? See, first of all, we must understand these few things in life, that if you are too helpful, people will notice it. Like I have mentioned it long back, that people will notice that you are too helpful. And there are some kind of people that will attract it to you just because of help, not because of your identity, not because of what new things you have to offer to them, to the society, to your workplace, etc. But if you are also not that helpful, you might lose out on reality. Why? Because there is a, like reality is changing. How our society worked back then doesn't work anymore. So, what can we do? Maybe we can understand that it is okay to have strict boundaries, first of all, and just understand that, okay, if you have that a huge emotion set around certain things, then do not share it. Let's say it will, sometimes, however, parents or people who always defend their own needs, they mention that eventually these things will sit around on your shelf and you will not help us at all. So it's okay, tell it to yourself that, okay, these things will sit around on my shelf and I don't care at all. I just want to be happy to know that I am a hoarder. Hoarding is that act that where you just keep on collecting things. And like how you are a maximalist, how you like to have a lot of things together. And you'd like to accumulate and collect things. And just tell yourself that, my world revolves around that I'm this hoarder. I will not be able to change myself for better. And if you think that, you can carry on with life without, being able to help, that is also fine. That is not an issue at all. What is problematic though is to force morality upon oneself and be able to help. So, what can we do? In either of the cases, first of all, please understand that if you're borrowing something from someone, be thankful, be happy, and also be a little sorry that that thing might or might not exist for eternity. Okay, so let's say today you have borrowed something, a bag, bottle from someone. Just imagine that the moment you return those things, that act of helpfulness will expire, and then probably who knows when it is the next time that you will be able to borrow something from someone. So instead, why not be extremely helpful and also be thankful that wow, this exists. Okay, and like look up to that person who was able to help you, and just cherish the idea that wow, people like this do exist and I get to be a part of this world. So, yeah, and like when these incidents occur to me, I feel very much, I feel everything. I feel sad, I feel regretful, I feel happy, I feel thankful. Maybe it is one of those feelings where you have nothing to feel. It is just an amusing incident, and you wanted to speak up about it a little, you know, and also there are these uh, people, like there are this incident where somebody took something from you and you never found it. So the world at its best, you know, is something that I mean, what if you had never lost something, right? Because you wanted to help somebody out of a situation. So there is nothing more sad to lose something because you wanted to help somebody with something. You just want to be a person who has a good world around them. You want to be a little more articulate, not exactly selfish. You want to be a little bit more cheerful, that you're building a world that you care for. And you also want to be a little more resourceful, that I won't be able to give you that particular bag or bottle, but there is something else that I can give you. Maybe how about you use that another thing? But you can just say no, that like I hardly share my things. That is also fine. What is not fine is to lose your amount of thoughts. I mean, invest that amount of thoughts like invest that amount of waiting that, oh God, when will the person help me out with it? So, yeah, let me know your experience. If you ever had this person who has taken something for you from you and has never returned. Now, have you given it a thought that how it would be to take something from someone? Let's say you borrow a dress from someone and you take it and you keep it for that long and you don't return it on time and you make whatever excuse you can make and you keep it for very long, and then when the person comes and asks you that when will you give my thing back, you you just keep it again, like you don't return it, you keep it once again. And then when they ask you that, when will you give my thing back, just look at it and you think that, oh, if only you wish you had that thing, but you are not going to buy it, so you get to keep it for another week. And then you get to keep it till there is an argument around it, till there is a fight around it, till they get to say things about you. But it doesn't matter to you because you got to keep the thing, because you got to, like, have your space of safety and assurance and affirmations in your head that, in this dramatic world where everything is changing so fast, you got to be yourself. So does that make you happy? Well, if I could do it, I would be happy about it. If I could borrow something even from my neighbors that I have a workable, happy, amiable relationship with, I wish I could borrow something from them and, like, surpass that deadline when I am supposed to give it back to them and still keep it and continue life as is, with an idea that I'm never going to return it to them. Maybe I will give away something else to them, but not that particular thing. And maybe that there are 1,000 copies available in the market of the same thing. But that particular thing which I got to borrow and which I got to keep, it is everything to me. It is way it the value of that thing is way above anything else. It is way above my value of life, my energy, my money, my job, my family, everything, even my image. Okay. And then eventually, you don't do this with just that neighbor or just one small thing. You start to do this thing with everything else. Like, maybe you borrow uh, something more important, then the next thing, then the next thing. Doesn't it feel a little crazy to think about life this way? Well, it does. And like, this is what it is. Like, are we living life? As I try to build boundaries around me, it is important to think that are we living a life of labels, of deadlines, of boundaries, of institutions, organizations being able to explain, being able to justify that, like, okay, I have borrowed this thing and I will justify it. And I will justify it to myself, and then I will not give an explanation, or I might even give an explanation, but I am not going to return it to anyone. I'm just going to keep it. So, what is it that keeps us, even me, even like, as I think about it, even I have done it, even me, what is it that keeps us from you know, being able to return things, and also what is it that keeps us from being able to be happy about not returning things. Like, if at all there is a guilt, why should there be that a guilt around it? I think it is a matter of effort. We are putting an effort towards it. That, like, yes, I understand that there are things. I understand that there is a deadline, there is a responsibility, but I'm going to make an effort around it. That I'm going to keep it, that I'm going to be happy about it, that I'm going to be energetic about it, that I've borrowed something from someone and still be happy. So, yeah, this is what I badly wanted to share with you. And like, this reminds me of many other incidents that I have faced in the past. Okay, like I remember that I had this friend, and like she had those, like her mother got these hair colors, and hair, like like how we have hair colors from different company. And back at that time, the hair color boxes as a promotional offer would provide you with this folding combs, okay, like these small folding combs with which had a rubber frame, and you can just fold it out and brush your hair and fold it in and put it back. So that is the thing. And like, sometimes you get to just like take it out and brush your hair and show it off that this is your thing. And then back then, and then this friend's mother, she made a comment that I am going to just be uh, I'm like, she made a comment that I'm going to buy the next box and I'm going to give it off to you. And like, I took that thing very seriously. I thought that it was a promise that I'm going to take very seriously. And like, I waited for a week, month, that she is going to give me that folding comb. And like, I kept on telling it to my parents that I'm going to receive this folding comb from this friend's mother. And but then I never received it, and it made me feel so sad and sick. Later on, of course, my parents got it for me. And like, and for very long I had a, like, I was so happy. Like, for very long I would not even go to, like, I would go to bed with that comb, I would sleep with that comb, I would carry that comb everywhere I go. And you know but till the day, till today, till now, I feel, like, I feel as if I'm still waiting for that comb. And like, this is also something that we must take seriously, that if we have made a commitment, if we have said something to someone, we should take it seriously. That like, okay, wherever, okay, like, I have said this thing that I'm going to buy this thing, I'm going to take this person there, so I am serious about it. That like, I'm going to keep it, or I'm going to give give that person that I'm going to have some time. And I think the lack of commitment around our lives, around our people, are what makes us very vulnerable, very dangerous. And that is something that we just can't compromise with anymore, people. Why? Because we are, like, seems as if the world is getting divided between people who are resourceful and people who are sad and unapproachable, not that happy, not that lucky. And they live in a zone of complaint, sadness, etc. So, what is the solution? The solution is to live and let live, first of all. Please understand that just like you need something, others also need a bit of things. Okay? And also understand that what you have today, these opportunity of commitment, of taking the person out, of going there, you might not have tomorrow. It is a very sad thing to realize, but it is also something that you can build or rebuild or even reshape your world around. Okay, if you are known in a society that that is so perishable, so unavailable, that you are a punctual person. If a neighbor has asked you that they want to help you around, but you need to be there by 4 p.m. sharp, you are there by 4, even by 3:50. There is nothing wrong with it. But you need to believe in yourself that, like, if you're making a commitment, if you're moving on with a commitment, it can be the best thing that you have done so far. Carry on with life as is. Okay. So, to put a bit more into it, like when somebody else has something and you want that thing, just think about it that it's okay to be able to borrow. But what is more important is to build a life in whichever society you are in, whichever part of the world you are in, which lets you borrow things, which lets you help things. But then again, if you are thinking that, okay, Shogini was just now talking about how important it is to have boundaries, it is also important to have boundaries. But see, in life, if we are helping someone, let's say you are just helping someone with, maybe your commitment towards work, your commitment towards your household, etc., etc., you can still uh, be productive and powerful, passionate, and just accept that this is life. That commitment, making commitment, being able to help is life. Some upside downs are there, some, bad things are there, of course. But yeah, being there for someone, helping them out is also good. Now, I cannot sit and, go back to these people and teach them a lesson in being able to say sorry, thanks, or anything. But if we can be, then it is also great. Okay, so yeah, see you soon.